artist community. We haven't defined exactly who we will be contacting or issuing an RFP, but we want to make sure, as we've done in the past, we have some very good candidates. And again, I think in the memo we mentioned 2 to 3 groups that we may contact, but that's a process in development. Fundraising is another part of it, and we have our, I think Doris Heiser and going back to an RFP, Doris Heiser and Pat Algiers are working on preparing an RFP for the artist community, along with the fundraising, because we will be doing this with private funding, whether it be companies, families, individuals, foundations, or whatever. The process of the final product is intended to utilize after the artists prepare their designs, is to transfer those designs to a 3M company manufactured film that will be then applied to each of the boxes. And we've got some interesting information on the product. The closest thing I can give you some information on the film, but it's not exactly like it, but if you've seen the Milwaukee County Transit System buses, some of them have a film covering virtually the whole bus that is virtually commercials or advertisements. That is, I don't know if you could, it's not transparent, but it has to be, you can see through it. This will be, I'll just call it opaque, because we want the artist's product to be very visible and appropriate for each box. Maintenance, again, will be something that we're thinking about, but it'll be run through the Public Art Committee. And we've got to determine how we want to do that. And that is not a topic that we've discussed in detail, but that's certainly something we want to think about. Based on the research we've done to date, we know that the typical films last somewhere in the area of 4 to 5 years. And, but that's not actually cast in bronze. May last longer. If they're damaged, they will be repaired or replaced as required. Schedule and budget to be determined. Our goal is to do the project this year. Historically, in the last 12 years, when we've done our projects, it's taken up to 2 years or so to do, like the Ghost Train or the Plenza. Of course, the plein air events we did were 4 years in a row, and they were done each year. Rebecca, do we have the slides available?
Oh, no, but they were, the images were provided in the packet. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Of where the
so you've got the slides that Don had?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you've got the slides that Don had, and that'll give you a little bit more information.
And in a Friday update to the trustees, I also provided them the link to a similar project that occurred in another city,
right,
to kind of give a little bit of context to what the art may be.
Right. Yeah, we aren't seeing at all that what you have in the packet is going to be our final product. But those are intended to show the quality, intent, and scope of what we're planning on doing. And then in brief, Trustee Bachor said I could have 3 minutes and 14 seconds to do the presentation. I think
you're up to 3 minutes.
But we'll just, if you've got questions or comments, please offer those now, and I'll avoid answering any questions.
Okay, Trustee Maher, and then Trustee Martin.
Oh, okay. One of my questions was, it's indicated the village will own it, or the donor might, or one of my concerns is always end of life, when we determine, you know, it's time to take these down, what's the process to remove them, or, you know, the
I can't give you a final,
Right.
you know, I can't give an answer to that, how long it'll take to apply them. I think it's a relatively short time, but we'll get more information on that. And I would assume that in ensuing weeks or months, as we get this package put together, we'll come back to you with more information that will answer that question.
Yeah, because with the ghost training, that agreement, it clearly says the village board has authority to,
Well,
when it's
Let
determined.
me
that
add a
it's-
couple comments to that. Starting out where we are now, we thought because the village owns these control boxes, and the intent is with any public art that we develop or have developed, they're basically on Shorewood property. The control boxes are owned by the village and maintained by the village. And so we thought that was a good starting point. Now, as I think I've noted in that memo, is if we find a donor wants to have ownership of that, we'll look at that option. And the same thing, if an owner wants to replace something in it, or fix it, or whatever, we'll develop a plan to address that too. You know, we're getting into new territory here, as we have for the last 12 years. We are working on a program that Police in Shorewood hasn't done before. And every one of our projects, except the 4 plein airs, has been new and very different. So we have a lot of answers to be developed for you as well as for ourselves.
I would just suggest, so our finance director in an internal meeting before this meeting, on this agenda item, he had the same exact concern that there needs to be some sort of clause. So if the donor, my only suggestion would be as you move forward, if the donor is going to be the owner, then whoever owns it, maintains, you know, it should be it would be really hard to split it so that the
Right.
owner owns the art. And one of the things the budget director did say, or finance director, was like, we need to know if it peels off or if it's actually gonna like eat the paint, and then we have to.
I think it's a peel, a kind of an
Yeah.
applied peel on, reverse, but
Yeah.
peel off kind of thing, because I'm sure the buses are done that way. It's not,
Right.
you know,
These are
little
rolled
square
control
inches of
boxes.
things.
So might just the adhesive, just to be clear,
Yeah,
what would be required?
so we'll have to ourselves get more information on the film and some of the advantages and recommendations 3M would offer in terms of application, maintenance, all of that.
And I'm sure Leanne can give you the specs on what kind of paint those boxes have. And are there 11 boxes?
11.
Are all 11, so our finance director thought that not all of 11 were available? Is that?
They're all fully or partially available. When I say partially, that relates mostly to the site conditions. Some may have shrubbery on one side or whatever. They may be close to a building. I think there's a note in the memo about how we would approach each of those boxes with the selected artists to address those concerns.
And Leanne, are they being scheduled to be replaced at all?
These are signal control
Right.
boxes.
Right.
The control cabinets we've been discussing previously are street light.
Okay, so these aren't going to be replaced anytime soon?
The vast majority have been replaced in the last 10 years.
Right, and I think that's, Mark was saying there's about 3 that are kind of connected, or was he talking about the other things?
He was talking about the other box.
Okay, okay. All right.
And I think as the memo notes, clearly, as we delve further into the details of each box, I'm sure there are doors, hinge doors, louvers, whatever. The artists and then the final film application will have to acknowledge that so that the functioning of the box and maintenance within the box is not adversely affected.
trustee Warren, and then trustee Bachers, and then trustee McKay.
Well, the answer to my question was encompassed in the answer to trustee Matter's question, but thank you for coming here and presenting this to us. I'm certainly very supportive of, I'll just make a comment, very supportive of increasing the amount of public art in our community and really excited about the project.
Great, we appreciate your support, and I think over the years we've tried to, because we are an appointed committee, but we feel continue to feel it's important to certainly have you fully understanding of what we want to do along each step and not have any surprises. As Diane Buck and I have talked over the years, we do know that with public art, not everyone's going to love the final product. When we did the Plemsville, which was kind of our first grand slam, we've heard very few criticisms of it, but I did get a couple calls where they said, "Why didn't you tell us about it?" Well, we were here, and Russell Bowman, former art director of the Milwaukee Art Museum, advised us, because he was involved in the project. He said, don't go public until you have your plan fully defined, and we don't want to get into, some of you may remember the blue shirt sculpture that was going to be placed somewhere in Milwaukee or 300 miles away and never went ahead. And we want to avoid that, so thank you.
Oh, wait, there, I still have a question about trustee Bachers, then trustee McKay, and then trustee Carpenter. We all have questions. Trustee Bachers.
So yeah, I'm very grateful that you guys are doing this, and just as trustee Warren has said, many others on the board in the past, that anytime we can have an increase in public art, especially at, not at our expense, is great. Living in Seattle in the past, there were a lot of these examples. This is an international phenomenon, by the way, if you guys aren't familiar with the vinyl wraps or the painting or the other decals. There are a variety of ways that people do this. So it's great to see that this is coming to Shorewood. And I love that you guys are collaborating with a lot of others, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Well, thank you. This won't have quite the physical size, visual impact of the Oakley Trail Bridge has or the Plemsville, but it'll be little spots of color celebrating Shorewood. So we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Well, then we have three more. Trustee Carpenter? Trustee McKay? Sorry.
I support the project, and I look forward to it moving forward. What is there action required of us this evening? It says considered.
Right, and that was one of my points of clarification as you wrapped up with your questions. What I'm hearing from you tonight is that this is not ready for formal action tonight.
Right.
And it sounds, after listening to you, and you can jump in if I'm incorrect, that the Public Art Committee is going to be continuing to vet and get some further detail to the process involved for installation, removal, and maintenance, and then also the process of vetting out the film and what maintenance and how it would be either replaced or dealt with from a maintenance standpoint.
We may have to call on.
That's
Correct, and then bringing something back. So I'm
We
not
have to
hearing
call
action.
village attorney and
Carpenter, and then I have a question
that
for
kind of
trustee
thing. So,
Quinta.
yeah.
Trustee Carpenter?
So we'll keep it moving, and thank you for your support.
Yeah.
I haven't met all of you, but it's a pleasure to be talking in front of you.
I know we had talked, one of the things about the maintenance that we had talked about with Diane, and I just want to make sure that that's something that's continuing with the discussion, is that the potential to upfront maybe order more wraps, like potentially maybe order 2 upfront if there's, so that way
Right.
DPW maybe holds on to extra in case there's damage or, a situation as that arises, so that we're, kind of getting out ahead of that and maybe financially cheaper to do that upfront than going back to have it repainted.
Yeah,
So I think that's something to consider.
I think I noted in the memo something related to that is, and the committee hasn't even talked about it. When we were writing the memo, it occurred to me, maybe we want to build into the upfront costs for the first application some money to cover any potential future maintenance, but we'll see.
So when you bring it back, that, I want to build on that for a second, because I didn't get to make that meeting, I had a concurrent meeting. And Rebecca, maybe just for our memo, the fiscal notes have fallen off our memos, so I'd like them to be put back on, the section for fiscal note. And for this one in particular, I looked through here, and it looks like there's a couple of expenses that we probably should estimate, because it is still a village committee, and so if it's over $10,000, we'd want to RFP, or at least price compare, you know, we have a purchasing policy to follow. So the cost, it looks like there might be a stipend, there's material and production, there's the celebration that may occur, and then there's maintenance and replacement, so
Right.
your upfront maintenance and replacement costs. So those things, if, when you bring it back for consideration, if we can just outline, and then we'll know how much installation may be, and if we have to go out and get price quotes. And then the other thing is, which fund is it coming from? Is the fund, just going forward so we're all aware, I believe the funds for public art is now resides at the Shore Foundation.
Correct.
Okay, and so you would fundraise and put it into that public, there's two funds, right?